I told him, we have 90 days. You have 2 deferrals over to get it all done. So he's signed everything, took care of it. But there was another guy that we had set up with their attorney. French was the attorney. And his was a 90-day, like we'll drop the FTA and all that stuff.
Yeah,
And he's the one that asked if he could have a pay plan. And I told him yes. But when he would have to pay it before the deferral started, and he hadn't paid or done nothing.
Is it passed?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I told Lori to send the
I'll
show
send you the
attorney.
landfill manager
And then let
Tiffany's.
Yeah, we'll write right out.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Appreciate it.
They're hanging out in the back hall.
Huh?
They're hanging out in the back hall.
Who? Mark or Matt?
Mad.
Hey, Melissa. Good.
I gotta come down here.
On the mat.
Philip, do you sign the other one too?
Oh, no, I
Do
didn't.
the other one.
Sorry about that.
No, you're fine. Yeah, it's a good reminder. Is the mayor here? No, he wasn't feeling good. Thank you. So Matt's gonna sit up and.
Did y'all have a lot of balloons and stuff? Oh gosh, we got like a 40-yard container full of trees.
Yeah, Tyler was out there helping Courtney Foss clean up all that. He was helping. That's a big pile.
Yeah, he had a big pile. I'm just gonna.
Did boss man today?
Oh, about all that.
Right. Probably, you should be on the agenda if you just push the button.
Hey, Kirsten, be nice, he brought us snacks.
I did.
I love those things.
The early Halloween.
Cheese balls are the best.
We had some, but we just threw it in the hall.
This is really
Use some chairs, and then whenever the music stops, wherever we're at.
Just
Sorry.
take your name tag with you.
I know. I had to move Matt up to the big seat.
All right, here we go. Board of Adjustments first. All right. How you doing, sir?
Good, how are you?
Good. Got everybody. All right, welcome everybody. I'd like to call the Board of Adjustments, City of Richwood, Texas meeting on Tuesday, September 21st, 2021 at 6 p.m. We'll call this meeting to order. First, if everybody will please rise for invocation.
Dear Father, we gather in this room and conduct the business of the city. Please guide us and bestow wisdom upon us, opening our minds and hearts to what is best for our community. We thank you for bringing us safely through the storm last week, and we pray for your continued protection. We ask that you grant us patience as a city as we deal with the aftermath of the storm. Please be with those suffering, grieving, or otherwise facing hardships or difficulties. In your most holy of Son's name, Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen.
Amen. Everybody stand for the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. All right, roll call of council members. Please be noted that I show all council members present, and myself acting as interim mayor. Mayor Boykin is not with us. All right, public comments?
There are none, sir.
There are none. All right. All right, moving on to consent agenda, approval of minutes from called meeting held September 13th, 2021.
Make a motion to approve consent agenda.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second to approve consent agenda. Position 1, how do you vote?
Aye.
Position 2?
Aye.
Position 4?
Aye.
Position 5?
Yes.
All right, consent agenda approved unanimously. Moving on to item 7, discussion and action items. Discussion and action regarding variance to allow a performance-based design alternative for the fiberglass building at the North Water Plant site without a fire suppression system to comply with Chapter 50, Sections 5001, TAC 3, TAC 3, TAC 1 through 5001, TAC 3, TAC 3, TAC 18 of the International Fire Code. All right, do we have a presentation on this?
Yeah, Morgan from Strand Associates is going to speak on it. Chris Motley is here to answer any further questions, and we also have answers for questions that were asked for this insurance.
Thanks, sir. Ready, ma'am?
So just an overview again of what it's for. So we, for Richwood, we followed the International Building Code and International Fire Code for 2018. And in the International Fire Code, in Chapter 60, it says that all hazardous material buildings must have a fire sprinkler system and a fire alarm system. However, the building we have for the water plant is only a 6x6 building. It houses chlorine, and that's the only thing it houses. It's separate from the booster pumps and any other sort of material or functions of the water plant. And so in Chapter 50 of the International Fire Code, it says that you can have a performance-based design alternative, which basically means that if it's approved by the fire official, that the buildings can be permitted to comply with this section, and it's the 18 alternatives that you have in the paper, where it's also shown on the screen. And through either our design or through different functions that the city has to have in writing, for example, safety data sheets, or an emergency system of taking 2 feet out of the building if something happens. And all of those, they're described in those 18 points. And as to why we don't think that you should need a fire sprinkler system, and so that's all I've got. Chris, did you want to explain?
I'm Chris Motley. A little history of me, so give you a little comfort in inspection work and plan reviews. Close to 27 years in the fire service. 25 of that's been doing this type of work as well. My main employer is the city of Richwood. So what I'm going to tell you tonight, as far as this review, is very seldom a fire official will tell you a sprinkler system is not required. Each classification, regardless of what it says or what it does, point blank says it will have an automatic sprinkler system. We've even looked at, can we put a suppression system that's not a sprinkler system. It even prohibits it starting in the 2015 code. So we've looked at everything. We're only talking about 36 square feet. With 2 chlorine cylinders, the engineering design has taken all the other safety factors required in the Section 50 and applied it, eliminated as much of any electrical sources or any problems that would be an issue. The building's not designed to house as an office or work out of. It's strictly just for that piece of equipment. We even raised the question, why can't it be a 3-sided building with a roof over the top? But TCAQ requires it to be enclosed for security reasons. So we've explored this question back and forth with telephone conferences and everything in detail. Probably bounced through 5 chapters in the fire code, but the one that y'all brought up and we talked about performance-based design in there requires that we enter into the record that reason why or why that motion was made, so that way it's kept on file. And some things have changed over time legalities wise, that just even as a fire marshal, I can't just do that on my own. I need either my technical board or my appeals board to agree with that decision. But one other thing in there too, in the beginning chapter administrative section, it also talks about as long as we've met the majority or all of we can of the modeled code for eliminating hazards the best we can, it's an acceptable practice. So that part in that beginning section, administrative section, I'm comfortable with the design without an automatic sprinkler system. Because of the square footage is so small, and that what it's designed for, and what the engineering has gone for to remove anything that needs to be done for process outside of that building. So your potential hazard of something happening is eliminated. So, and the other thing we also questioned internally was, in our meetings was, how does the real community handle this? You know, is this being done everywhere? I live on a community well, I kind of look at their deal, they just got a box over the chlorinator machine, and that's pretty much it, but it's a chain link fence. But we're compliant to recent standards, and I really think that this is overbearing this project, because it's not like we're doing this room or anything of size, and that's kind of where I'm at with that. So I guess the analogy I gave, you sprinkle a house, but why would you sprinkle in a doghouse? It doesn't make sense when they've taken care of everything else. So that's kind of where I'm at on my decision on that, to provide my recommendation to you that it's not needed in this application. Also, you have a perimeter fence, so it's not public access. Anybody inside it is either going to be a city employee or a contractor or vendor that is trained in wastewater or the type of product that's in there as well. So I believe your restrictive is going to help you there as well. So, any questions?
Are you the inspecting authority on it?
For Richwood, yes.
And you say it's okay?
The recommendation that it's not needed for everything that's been designed by the engineering.
Thank you.
I have a couple of questions. First, looking through here, I see that there's a lot of management systems that we're saying we're going to use to make sure that we're going to operate safely, right? We're going to have leak detection system, we're going to have automatic shutoffs, all these things. It's been over-engineered, right? To the point of we should be comfortable with not having a sprinkler because it will automatically close off any leak that is there, and the ventilation will be shut off, right?
Yes, and even in chapter 50 explains the procedures that you need to have written, and I can go in detail with those later, or now, however you want to look at them later, but they're spelled out in the fire code specifically. We're doing it right now with our wastewater treatment plant, writing complete protocols on how everything should be taken care of. And to these guys, it's second nature. But what they need to train on and what they need to do every year or every month is covered in there as well. Start up and shut down and things like that.
Yeah, I guess for me, if we, do we already have a system like this already in place with PMs that come up and say, hey, we need to check these and make sure that they're actually functioning as intended?
Yeah, we do, but it's standard practice. We check it daily, 365 days a year without fail. That's part of what we do.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
That makes me that much more comfortable.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
You have a question?
For Cliff, sir, you know, one of those management systems Mark brings up is development of a management of change and implement that policy. Is that something we plan to do, you know,
Yeah.
before it's okay?
Yes, everything that we're required to do, most of it's going to be just beating up standard operating procedures. It can be a cash link in that.
Okay.
I think everything that we need, but I think most of it's already written. It just needs to be specifically designed for this plan. Yeah.
And then the safety audits down at the bottom, is that something yourself would perform? Or are you going to leave that to the employees?
That's probably something the foreman would perform.
Okay.
Yes. But it could be either or at this point in time. It could be both of them.
Yeah, I know we had some concern about how the chlorine will eat away at components over time, and we have the ventilation that's in there and this emergency shut-off valve. So we're going to have those on a schedule to be checked on a certain frequency. Like, hey, we need to change this out after 1 year of service, or 3 years of service, or 5 years of service.
Yes, we can, most definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, we check all systems daily, typically on these type systems, because they're so simple. There's not a lot to it. And when something fails, it's generally a plunger on the injector or something. But if we lose power to ventilation fan or ventilation fan, we'll take care of that. But they can also put it on the schedule. If
What
you're
about
covered-
insurance?
We show no indication of any increased cost of insurance due to this.
It's covered?
It's
They'll
covered.
cover it?
Yes. Insurance, from what I understand, is going to be based on the value of the property and the construction.
But they don't have any issue with the variance?
No, they didn't indicate it to me.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Hey Cliff, I had a question on the UPS battery for the emergency shut-off. That's part of, do we have that documented on a PM of like how often we're gonna be changing that battery out on the UPS system?
Yes,
It says
we
it's
will.
operated on a UPS battery.
Yes, sir.
So is that documented on like a annual PM, or what's the interval to change that UPS battery out?
It will be on annual.
Annual?
Yes.
Okay.
And is that, thank you for bringing that up. Was that a local alarm, or is it gonna ring out to City Hall and let us know?
It says the leak detector will notify the city of a leak.
Yeah, it'll be on the SCADA system.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's,
I was just thinking if we have power outage, right,
Yeah, so for the UPS, it's if the power goes out, if the generator fails, that will still be working.
okay.
and that's what I think it's including the upgrades in the water plant.
Thank
where
you. Yeah, I was thinking.
It's actually going to be connected to, plan for it to connect to a cellular phone. So when these alarms go off, it will know that.
And it also says there's also an emergency generator on site if power is unavailable from CenterPoint.
That's right.
And also like the PM on that, I know we've had issues like during the freeze when our lift stations, the generators weren't working. So I'm just curious to see, do we have a documented PM procedure and checklist that we're gonna follow to make sure in the event there is a gas leak and there's a need for an emergency generator, that it functions properly and that the UPS battery is not expired. And we had the auto defibrillators, we had that issue with batteries that were older and expired. So I'm just trying to ensure that we're maintaining these batteries
Sure.
on a consistent basis.
Yeah, and I can speak to the generator maintenance, the preventative maintenance plan we practice now is quarterly. And we do, we will generally opt to or not to do load banks during the busy season, but as of right now, we perform quarterly.
That's all I have. Thanks.
I'd like to make a motion to allow a variance, or to approve a variance to allow a performance-based design alternative for the fiberglass building at the North Water Plant site without a fire suppression system to comply with Chapter 50, Sections 5001.3.3.1 through 5001.3.3.18 of the International Fire Code.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second on the floor to approve this variance for item A. Position 1, how do you vote?
Aye.
Position 2?
Aye.
Position 4?
Aye.
Position 5?
Yes.
I would show item A, a variance for the performance-based design alternative is approved unanimously.
Thank you.
All right, and with that, we will adjourn from the Board of Adjustments meeting. It is
Thank you.
6:18 p.m.
2-minute break.
and we have a 2-minute break.
Pretty good timing on that one.
Yeah, good. I really thought it was going to be longer. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
being honest with you.
I'm shocked.
You have to get some,
Yeah.
take who's available.
Richwood wants to do a variance? I don't think so. Everybody ready? All right. All right, I'd like to call our city council meeting for Tuesday, September 21st, 2021 at 6:20 p.m. Call this meeting to order. Roll of council members complete. Please show all council members present, and Mayor Boykin is absent tonight. All right, public comments. Do we have any public comments tonight?
I don't think so.
Don't believe so. All right, consent agenda. Approval of minutes from regular state meeting held September 13th, 2021.
Make a motion to approve consent agenda?
I'll second.
All right, I have a motion and a second to approve consent agenda. Position 1, how do you vote?
Aye.
Position 2?
Aye.
Position 4?
Aye.
Position 5?
Yes.
All right, please show item A, consent agenda approved unanimously. All right. Section 5, item A, discussion and action. Discuss and consider resolution 21-R-58, extending the disaster declaration enacted on September 13th, 2021 by Mayor Boykin, expiring October 31st, 2021.
Mayor, Council, we're just requesting we keep the disaster declaration in place, at least through debris cleanup. It doesn't affect pay. I'm going to be upfront about that. It doesn't have anything to do with pay. It's merely administrative to help us get this cleanup done under the disaster declaration. That's all.
All right, any discussion or questions, council?
I had a quick question. It's just a local disaster declaration. There's no state or federal.
There is both.
There's both.
Yes.
All right, good. Good. Try to get somebody back.
Those have both been extended as well.
That's what I'm about to look at.
I didn't see the extension.
I think theirs are generally longer than ours
I
anyway.
think there's they don't do this whole 7 days. They initially,
Yeah.
I think it's 30 days normally, the initial. Let me.
I guess let me ask, do the state and federal disaster declarations affect our local one to the extent where Mayor Boykin can always declare the local one?
Yes, you can declare, but what we really need is the state and the federal one.
To approve any fund?
Yeah.
Because he did the local first, right?
Mhm.
And then the state and federal.
Right, which, yeah, so if the state and federal end before that, that may be an issue, but.
It's not, it's really just administrative at this point. It doesn't.
Because they still have to submit all the damage claims,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And see if we qualify for any assistance.
Yes. And that's more regional than just Richwood.
Just Richwood, right?
This initial declaration doesn't even have an expiration date.
Is that anything that can be direct, I mean, all costs could be directly attributed for cleanup, so even if we had to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's kind of like as long as the state has one, then we're covered not having one. But us having one covers us if the state doesn't have one. It's just kind of,
Is this,
Is there a con to extending this to October 31st? What's the bad side to it? There really isn't that I can think of.
Oh, it's administrative, that's it.
yeah.
it looks like the Brazoria County one expired 7 days after it was done on the 14th.
Because he has to have the commissioner's court re-up it, kind of like we do with the
Yeah.
mayor.
But I think it looks like theirs is expiring.
They didn't read us there.
I make a motion to extend the disaster declaration enacted on September 13th, 2021 by Mayor Boykin to expire October 31st, 2021 for resolution 21-R-58.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second for resolution 21-R-58 to extend the disaster declaration. Position 1, how do you vote?
Aye.
Position 2?
Aye.
Position 4?
Aye.
Position 5?
Yes.
All right, please show the disaster declaration extended till October 31st, 2021. All right, item B, discuss and consider authorizing the city manager to send notice to proceed as part of our contract agreement with the Ceres Environmental for storm debris removal in amount of not to exceed $250,000.
Mayor and council, this is for our disaster debris cleanup management company. We're requesting not to exceed $250,000 for cleanup. What we're looking at right now is between windshield estimate between 8 and 10,000 cubic yards. The cost on cleanup for that is between $15 and $20 per cubic yard. Then there's a tipping fee for that at the dump. So we're asking for do not exceed $250,000. That will allow us to execute the notice to proceed tonight. We meet with Ceres tomorrow. We met with them today, and it looks like we can get a cleanup pretty quick, like within maybe starting next week. Probably run for about 10 days, and they'll be done. Get in, get out, and be done.
So I know this was before your time, but whenever we had the flooding event, do you know the company that was used for cleanup then?
I do
It
not.
was, did we do it between Harvey and now?
Talking specifically with Harvey?
It was a county.
Impression that we didn't utilize.
We didn't have an agreement then.
Or we didn't have one in the contract, and also the previous one didn't pick up white goods. And I said-
I believe Clute, Lake Jackson.
It was kind of a
the
joint
county,
effort of
and
surrounding,
Yes.
it wasn't a company. Harvey is what caused us to go out for bid for legit management monitoring. It was after that,
Have these in place.
yes.
I was just trying to recall who that was, because I know that in our subdivision, a lot of sidewalks, a lot of curbs were destroyed.
It was a kind of a mod podge of other cities helping us, the county helping us. We
Okay.
didn't have a professional company.
Okay,
If
yeah,
that-
I was just thinking, let's try to mitigate that this time. So
Right.
it doesn't cost us.
Yes, I
more
think
money
that's
to
why this was,
When this particular company is suited specifically for this.
Mhm.
Okay.
We had a really wide array of different equipment trying to do a common job.
Yeah.
It did not work out very well, I agree.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they'll be well prepared.
yeah, they actually have a large service yard here in Houston. This company does.
Yeah, I just know we had a lot of complaints from citizens about their sidewalks, their curbs being damaged and nothing being replaced.
and with this, it's a two-part, so there's another agenda item next, but with this, there'll be monitoring their work also and what they do and how much they do, and so it won't be on Cliff and his guys making sure they're getting their stuff done.
Is that item C's?
Yes.
They're managing Ceres for
Yeah,
us.
so the
That's
removal will
required
be
by FEMA
monitored,
for any debris cleanup. They have to monitor what goes in.
so if we want any reimbursement, we
Limbs
have to
can't
have
be
it.
so big, so long. White goods, paint, volatile chemicals, it's all monitored. Then they keep track of how many loads go in, how many are tipped for federal reimbursement. So it's kind of a two-part deal, but they both marry together.
Yeah, the documentation part is important, like we learned in Harvey, right?
Right.
We need that documentation.
So much so this company actually was, we're not on the agenda item, but they breadcrumb, they follow the trucks. So
So if there's something, they're seeing going wrong and what they're, because, I mean, ultimately, if there's damage done, it's on that company. Whereas if we just have a mutual aid agreement with another city who's just helping us out, there's not much recourse for damage there because we're just getting favors done.
That would assist us if we do have, like
Yeah.
you said, property damage and major issues.
Yeah.
We don't have an obligation to send this out for bid, right?
We already have a contract. We already bid it.
Okay.
And they're on 2-year contracts automatically extending until one party decides they don't want to do it. So we just bring this to council because of the dollar amount. It's already an existing executed contract between us and Ceres. It's from 2018. Yeah.
I had a quick question on the Cirrus contract, because I know this is, I don't have the specific contract and the verbiage, but does that include disposal and transportation, or just transportation? Because I know we're trying to call Seabreeze to see if we can set up an account directly, right?
It includes disposal,
It includes,
from my understanding.
They just need a contract with their.
Rory, each incident is different
yeah,
based on the circumstances. But in this case, the $15 to $20 includes transportation and tipping.
yeah, I'm just trying to make sure that the city gets the biggest bang for their buck and doesn't get overpriced on it. So, I mean, the environmental companies and the waste companies, they're gonna, let's say they can get it in at $15 a cubic yard, they'll charge the city 20, they're there to make money. And then, I'm just trying to see if we can set up the disposal direct.
We are assured by Cirrus that we're paying at cost for tipping.
That's part of the contract.
Yeah, we don't get to contract separately for that.
Yeah.
We were just needing a contact because they haven't dealt with Seabreeze yet. When I talked to Carl, he said that they dealt a lot with the Fort Bend.
Okay. Yeah.
Do we have audit privilege with them as part of that contract? Like
That's
we
what
can pull
item
the-
C is your audit.
They do
people.
it. Yeah.
You can pull the, and see if they're charging you more than what they pay.
Right.
It's federal
I
oversight.
mean,
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's what we do in the waste industry. It's cost plus.
Yes.
So I'm just trying to make sure, I mean, if the city can save 10% off the disposal, it's 25 grand right there. Okay.
we do expect these costs to be completely reimbursed though, right? We wouldn't have any,
We haven't heard
hope so.
anything yet.
I hope so.
Yeah.
We hope so. I can't.
Yeah.
no guarantees.
Nothing
but
down the pipe yet, but we're watching.
likely.
I just thought we should put it all in the soccer field out there and have a big bonfire.
Motley was just saying
I'm
that.
definitely not against that.
I'd like to make a motion to authorize the city manager to send notice to proceed as part of our contract agreement with, they said,
Serious?
Series
Wow.
Environmental for storm debris, removal amount not to exceed $250,000.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second, authorizing city manager to send notice of proceed. Position 1, how do you vote?
Aye.
Position 2,
Aye.
position 4,
Aye.
position 5.
Yes.
All right. Item B passed unanimously. Item C, discuss and consider authorizing the city manager to send notice to proceed as part of our contract agreement with True North Debris Management and Monitoring for an amount not to exceed $62,500.
Mayor and Council, this is really a performance contract as well. They're basing their fee on the amount of services delivered by Cirrus. Their estimate for us is not to exceed $65,000. I'm sorry, 62.5. Didn't have my glasses on there. The good thing about this is we don't have to expend staff like we did before, monitoring how many loads go out, what goes out, and all that. This meets the federal requirements for FEMA for reimbursement. It's almost kind of a have to. If reimbursement is allowed, this is our proof that we did it, and they're certified for that. They also certify the trucks that are used with weights and all that good stuff. So we're requesting the 62.5 for that.
No,
Is that something, oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Is that something that can also be reimbursed FEMA?
Yes.
Okay.
Mark alluded to damage during Harvey, and there was a lot of sidewalk damage and curb damage during cleanup of Harvey. Are these people gonna shut the job down if they start tearing up curbs and sidewalks? Who's gonna monitor that?
That's a good question. I know that this is not for project management. It's more oversight of the debris, what's being taken to the dump, the size. There's no volatile chemicals and so on and so forth. It's more debris management than it is project management. We can keep track of it, check the sites when we go, but we're actually using a debris management company, not.
Because as far as I know, none of those people had damaged curbs and there was no resolution.
Yeah.
I even called Cliff because of one of my neighbors, and it was basically fix it on your own.
Yep, that's what we had to do.
Yeah. And a lot of those crews, just from what I hear, were borrowed crews from other cities who were already tired. They didn't want to be here. They were loaned out. And
It wasn't like a contract we were in with.
So question for you, if those guys are gonna be monitoring what's going into the truck, would it be fair of us to say that they are going to assess the site once they leave, pick everything up? Or do they just go do an initial assessment and then they go to the next pile and say, yeah, pick it up? Or what, I'm not really sure what their work process is.
Their process really is for FEMA to pay. It has to meet certain guidelines and criteria. This company not only assures it, they certify it. So they certify the weights of the truck, the quality, the quantity, the amount of loads, and so on and so forth. It's a holistic overview of that. It is not project management.
Okay, no problem. Do you happen to know if our contract says something about damages and if what the recourse is for us? Would you happen to know what that is?
The contract with,
Sirius.
I'll have to look, I'll pull it and look at it, but we're on the True North topic right now, so we can't really go back to removal.
I'll get you an
That
answer.
was the same company.
No. True North they have to be separate to keep the split, to keep it.
Same scope.
We just have to hire two. It's
One company monitors.
They're working together, but
building, it's just
yeah, they're separate companies. True North is going to be watching serious work
Yes.
and ensuring we're not getting
I will get you an answer.
gouged, price gouged, and we're
Okay,
dumping hazardous
that's fair.
waste.
My apologies.
No, you're fine. I will
On the wrong
look
one.
for sure.
Maybe it's something we can do too, just to be.
And we
in
have
front of
conference
it
with them tomorrow, so it's a good question.
Yeah, so if y'all don't mind, just follow up with that.
Will do.
Because, I mean, we want to protect our city and
Oh,
not
100%.
have more costs on top of it if stuff gets damaged.
I think we could be in front with the residents as well, just like I've seen posted, of prohibited materials. This isn't the time to empty out the house of all kinds of materials.
We weren't happy with having to make that post, but we've noticed a lot of couches and.
Right, it's understandable. So, but we could probably do something similar with, hey,
Listen
if you
outside,
see
guys.
damage,
Every cubic yard adds money.
make sure that they're reporting it up to the city in a
That
timely
makes
manner.
sense. I wondered why.
Because if they're reporting it,
It could.
within a couple hours of it's happening, they get home that evening and see it, we can likely, city manager, Cliff, somebody, we could probably have a discussion in a reasonable manner. If it's 2 months down the road and we're hearing about it at a council meeting, then it's gonna be really hard for us to do anything.
I've used professional cleanup companies in the past, and we had very little.
Yeah.
Very little. It was grass out of the yard, and the people were so happy to have the stuff. It was
Yeah.
They're probably
like,
It's just we had the previous history of it getting damaged, so that's the
Yeah.
reason why we're
we'll find out.
making sure that we have some sort of recourse if that does happen. So, appreciate it. I make a motion to authorize the city manager to send notice to proceed as part of our contract agreement with True North Debris Management and Monitoring for an amount not to exceed $62,500.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to authorize city manager to send notice to proceed for True North Debris Management. Position 1, how do you vote?
Aye.
Position 2,
Aye.
position 4,
Aye.
position 5.
Yes.
All right, please show notice to proceed with True North approved unanimously.
Sorry. Okay.
Item D, discuss and consider approval of Matula and Matula Construction LLC change order number 2 in the amount not to exceed $30,000 to resurface asphalt driveways in the project scope of Richwood's Phase 2 of street repair.
We just revisited this council from last meeting. As I expressed to council before, there were several residents upset that their asphalt driveways did not get redone up to the boundaries of the easement, and felt that their tax dollars paid in the past justified that action. We tried to approach the situation in a consistent manner and a fair manner. Made a decision earlier on in the process that we could not afford to redo all driveways, concrete, asphalt, or gravel up to the edge of the easement. So the process we took was assessing every driveway individually, and the ones that did not get touched were people were upset with. So this is basically all the asphalt driveways within the project scope to be redone up to the edge of the easement. The driveways turned to concrete, and they asked me, so I'm asking y'all.
Did the road move? You know how, so like in some of the streets where the road moves over a little bit when they redid it? And
It might have gotten wider, it shouldn't have moved, but
shouldn't have
the
been smaller.
elevation profile did change on some by inches.
Okay.
They did. But as far as these asphalt driveways go, none that I'm aware of were adversely affected by elevation profiles, otherwise it would have been addressed in the engineering phase.
It would have met the criteria.
That's correct for some action.
Yep.
Correct.
And Cliff, these change orders are essentially already paid, I wouldn't say paid for, but the money's already allocated with the bond money, correct? Or is this coming out of?
The change order is
Addition to the bond money?
addition
Or is
to
it part of
what
the?
you guys have already approved for the streets project.
Okay.
But yes, it'll be funded with bond.
But it'll be funded with bond money?
That's
Correct, okay.
As long as the bond money comes up under budget by 30,
Yeah.
That's, yes.
which has been forecasted all along.
That's correct, and we do have, there's funds, these issues are a little bit more sensitive in my opinion because we have miles of street that still need to be repaired. So I'm real careful about what I say and try to make sure I bring these.
I think phase 1 of the bond street repair projects came in